So good morning. My name is Tracey Gordon, Registrar of Wills for Philadelphia. I'm excited to testify at today's hearing. It's important we work in partnership with Philadelphia Funeral Homes to share information about the importance of proper estate planning, beginning with making a will. Since day one of my administration, we have spread the message far and wide. Make a will. Dying without a will can have so many negative consequences, but I'll focus on the issues that I deal with at my office. And remember, our office is the Registrar of Wills, not the recorder of deeds. We help Philadelphians transfer their wealth after death, but we don't have anything to do with transferring the deeds. I always take the time to point this out. This is a common misconception. Luckily, I'm able to work with Commissioner Linden. He's doing a wonderful job over there, but he and I have put together some infomercials to go out to the constituents of the city of Philadelphia to let them know that we are two distinct offices. Earlier this week, I testified about the Tangled Title crisis, which is when a deceased person does not make a will and home ownership is not transferred correctly. This results in a tangled title and currently impacts over 10,000 homes, which we all know that means 10,000 families. I watch constituents without wills struggle to get the necessary consent from their family members to administrate the estate because there was no will. If there's no family agreement as to who should be the administrator going forward, then a legal petition has to be filed. Then you are forced to stand in line with the other petitioners that are fighting to administer their estates. During this period of COVID, that line can be long. You may even need to have a hearing to settle the matter, which I preside over. My decision could then be appealed, and then now you go to the orphans court and stand in another line. Not having a will can be a time-consuming and costly project that your grieving family will have to work out, which probably means fighting. I see it in my office all the time. As opposed to having a valid will and opening an estate. You are in and out of my office in less than an hour. We also recommend a self-proven affidavit so you won't have to worry about witnesses later. The best type of will that you get is one that is a self-proven affidavit that's bulletproof. People always ask me, can I write my will? Can I go to online and make a will? Yes, you can, but it's not going to be, it probably won't be a bulletproof will. Somebody will be able to contest it. But if you go to an attorney and you make sure that's a self-proven affidavit, that's bulletproof. One of the most important things that are lost when there is no will is the opportunity to select the executor of your estate or to pick a guardian for your children. With a will, you have that right, a constitutional right, that in this will, my last will and testament, this is where my stuff is going. This is who I want to take care of my families. In and out of my office, no tangled title. In our communities, the funeral director holds a place of esteem. This is the person that many people have those much needed conversations around death. When you attend a funeral for someone else, it's the perfect time to think about planning it for yourself. Catching people's attention at these critical moments is important. Once the funeral is over, we go back to our lives, and once again, estate planning is put on the back burner. It should be mandatory that literature be made available at funeral homes, reminding us of the importance of planning our own estates, beginning with drafting a will. I also want the literature to inform funeral directors and their customers how my office may be able to help them retrieve money from a deceased person's bank account if it contains less than $10,000. I'm for distributing this type of knowledge in as many areas as possible, especially during the point of purchase. Why wouldn't we, as realtors, smart realtors, make that information available just like you make the information for them to get a homeowner's insurance policy, just like when you buy a car, auto insurance policy, just like when you have children or even for yourself, a proper estate planning and make sure you have a life insurance. Don't we know to have that will? That's your insurance policy to protect and transfer your generational wealth. How that got lost here in the county of Philadelphia is tragic, but I have a solution at the Register of Wills. I'll be happy to have my office assist in the preparation of these materials, and we would just need some financial support to make it happen. Thank you all for being so attentive to this pandemic. We have identified where these homes are, which district they are. Now that we have all the statistics, we need funding so we can get the information out to your constituents so they can be able to make a solid choice on how they can untangle $1 billion worth of dead capital here in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Madam Register. We also have a question from Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had the opportunity to see a documentary called Many Rivers to Cross. It's on Channel 12. And it chronicled the first Africans and slaves to come to this continent. One of them wound up at a plantation and was able to be so valuable that he earned his freedom, went on to acquire a farm with, I'm a guess, 250 acres that was very productive. He was able to do all of that in his lifetime. But because of a technicality, because he was not a citizen per se, he was not able to leave that property, that thriving plantation, where he had indentured servants and a slave, but he was not able to transfer that wealth to the next generation. So the county took it. Like it was then, like it is now, the importance of your office is critical. It is how wealth is transferred from one generation to another. I want to thank you, your office, and the members at the Record Department for coming to our festival, right in the heart of West Philadelphia, where a lot of that Tangled Title issue is. Would you, for the record, cite some of the areas where this is a huge growing problem, particularly for people of color, Madam Register?
Yes, and I don't know if my communication director, John Zimmerman, has access to put the map up, but there are primaries of West Philadelphia, Southwest Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, Lower Northeast, Germantown. Those are where the hottest areas are. And by the way, we need to stop saying, or at least put an asterisk besides how much our home in Philadelphia is worth. Because they'll say in those particular poor neighborhoods that they'll say low housing value. And we absolutely know that location determines housing value. And nowhere near is Cobbs Creek Parkway, West Philly, North Philly is low income or low quality housing when I see so much major development going on there. Getting these titles untangled will get these homes and these constituents and these families, give them the ability to thrive in a home that was properly purchased by their mother or their grandmother. They just didn't know how to transfer it. And for the life of me, you know, a car depreciates, a home doesn't. So why wouldn't you know to make that insurance policy, make that will? They start anywhere from $100, simple wills. But depending on the complicated situations that we all live, previous marriages, different children by different marriages, and then even you may have some children recently. A close friend of mine, young daughter passed away with a 2-year-old that has special needs. No will, it was manageable because the surviving parent was cooperative, but a lot of times families do not cooperate. It makes them fight. It makes them they pull criminal records on each other, and it becomes very hostile. And we just had one of the tangled titles. We untangled the family. They had the will, never knew to come and bring it down to us. Went to get some basic system repairs and was rejected because they found out that you couldn't qualify for the BSRP grant because the house is you don't own it, and they state literally that assets automatically transfer, and it doesn't. There is a legal process that was already in place 400 years ago, and somehow, some way, it slipped Philadelphia. And now we have the opportunity as a register of wills, as city council, we already have all the data, all the stats. We already can make a change. I'm already partnering with the Department of Records. We applied for some grants. We're looking for grants. So we're not just asking for money from the city of Philadelphia. We're just saying pass legislation like this and give us some more funding so we can begin to penetrate this problem.
Member Richardson, I want to thank you for bringing light to this issue. I also know that if I were to say this family name in Winfield, large landowners, property owners in Winfield, headed by a mother who had maybe a half dozen children. When mother died, the siblings went into contest about who should control what properties. The properties fell into disrepair for over a decade and wind up being utilized by government. But wouldn't that been better if that family maintained control over those properties to send wealth into the next generation and beyond? So I won't say the name, but Member Richardson, by her nod of agreement, knows who I'm talking about. How wonderful would it have been for them to have their affairs in a will that, people could then follow the cues of the patron mother to follow. So thank you for what you're doing, Madam Register.
Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Is there any other questions for this panel?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a quick comment I had in the chat, but I just wanted to thank our Records Commissioner, Commissioner Leonard, and Madam Register of Wills Tracey Gordon for all of your work on this issue. You all have done so much, and we are simply trying to work with you as partners in government to do all that we can to avoid families getting involved with tangled titles and deeds. And I want to applaud you for the probate deferment initiative, and Commissioner Leonard for waiving fees, and Register of Wills Gordon for waiving fees for families. And as you stated, as both of you stated, it's the education that is so important. It's the information that's so important. And Madam Register, I have to say this on the record for this hearing, that it was information that I heard on one of your educational programs that I actually participated in as a panelist that made me know and understand that this issue could too be resolved for my family and I. So I just want to thank you for all the education, for your innovative communication strategies and social media techniques, particularly around the Register React series. And you all have gotten a lot of feedback, both locally, but also internationally, hearing back from the producers of Queen Sugar, about that show that is centered around a family who's in distress as a result of the father passing away, not having a will, and needing to figure out what they're doing with their family's property. So I just wanted to thank you so much for your work. I don't have any questions, and I'm looking forward to the remainder of this hearing.